In our last RV, which was our Momentum 397TH, that was a 2018 model, I replaced all of our stock individual thermostats for our AC systems with smart thermostats that I could access over the internet. I installed those because after a power glitch, the AC would stay off, and I needed to be able to control and monitor and turn those things back on remotely. Fast forward to this RV, which is our Grand Design Momentum 410TH. It has a newer Lippert OneControl system that has all of the ACs built into this one control. Now, that has its advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, I don't have individual thermostats that I can replace, so that's one thing, but the cool thing is I've got all three ACs in the palm of my hand. But the upside I've found is that if there's a power glitch in this RV and power goes off and comes back on, this one seems to maintain its state and turn the ACs back on. So that's a little bit better. And because of that, I was not in a huge hurry to get remote access to our OneControl. But it is something that I did want to set up, and the time has come. So to get remote access to our ACs, I have to set up remote access to the OneControl. This little guy right here, am I touching it? There it is. And that'll give us access to all three ACs, as well as other functions like lights and tanks and all that. We'll get more into that later. Now, if you have this Lippert OneControl system, you probably already have the app. Because why not? It's a free app. You can connect to this system over Bluetooth. No upgrades or anything needed, and you can access your AC systems, the tanks, the awnings, the leveling, and all that stuff. It's a great system. But when you leave the RV and go out and explore, of course, you lose that access. Bluetooth just doesn't go that far. Now, the good news is they did plan for this, and there is an upgrade available for this Lippert OneControl. Now, the bad news is it's not free. You do have to purchase some hardware and a subscription service, but it's not that bad. It is about $400 when I last checked for this remote access. Now, that might seem like a lot, but if I were to do this same project and get all three ACs set up with a micro air that costs about $250, $280-ish each, now I'm looking at $750 plus. So when you compare the two, it's really not that bad of a deal. Now, our RV, which was built in 2022, I think it's a 23 model, did come with the Lippert ConnectAnywhere 2.0 prep kit. And that looks like this on the ceiling, and it looks like this on the roof. This is great because all of the difficult wiring is already there and in place and ready to go. Now, not all RVs with the Lippert OneControl are going to have this prep kit. And honestly, I don't have any information as far as which manufacturers are installing this. Obviously, Grand Design is on the Momentums. I think maybe on the Solitudes also. But I'm not really sure what other manufacturers have this prep kit already installed. If your RV was manufactured before 2022, you might have an older system. Our 397 had a system that looked kind of like this. Now, I don't know how to connect that to the internet. I'm sure there's a way. The good news is Lippert's phone-in support is actually really, really good. You call there and you're going to get an actual person and be able to talk to them. I've always had great luck calling Lippert support. So if you have one of these older systems and you want to figure out how to connect it to the internet, just call Lippert. They're really great. But let's get back to what we're talking about here, and that is the ConnectAnywhere 2.0 setup. Now, like I mentioned, it just comes with blank plates on the bottom and the top. So the two parts to the system are a router that goes up underneath, right up here, and an antenna, of course, that goes on your roof. So the install is really, really very simple in theory. Of course, we know theory meets reality in RVs. It doesn't always go to plan, and that was the case for us as well, but it wasn't that bad. Up on the roof, when I took the plate off, I noticed that there was no hole through the roof. Turns out the hole was there. It was just off center a little bit. They probably moved it to get the solar panel where it needs to go, but I had to get a hole saw and drill my own hole down through the roof. Once I did that, they weren't lined up this way quite right, so I had about a distance that far I needed to go. It wasn't difficult. I just used a fish tape, found my hole, and was able to pull my antenna wires through. But once you get those wires run and sticking down through the hole here, you know, you've already got the two wires from the pre-wire prep. You've got a DC power line, and you've got two wires of communication line that go to the OneControl. Then you've got your two antenna wires that come through there, and it's really pretty easy to wire this bottom piece because the router comes with a base plate that you can just install up there over the holes, keep your wires coming through, and then it's just a matter of hooking up those four connections and then just clicking it right into place. And all you do is power it up, give it a minute to boot up. And once it does, you'll see an SSID. That's just a Wi-Fi connection that you see on your phones and computers that's out there in the ether. You'll see an SSID that looks something like this. Connect to that with your computer, phone, tablet, or whatever, and you should get a little pop-up window that looks like this. Now this kit comes with a sticker on the router on the bottom of it that has all the information you need for logging on, all that stuff. It also comes with an extra sticker so that you can use that. And you'll need that sticker on this screen to log in. Then after you log in with that stuff that's on the sticker, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. Now this screen could be a little confusing because there's not a lot of information on there, but what you can do here is you can change the router password, and you can also change the SSID and the network, the Wi-Fi password here. And you should do that and then change them to something that's easy for you to remember and jot them down. In fact, I would use something that's easy to identify like LCICA or ConnectAnywhere or something like that. Of course, once you click apply, it's going to reboot the router and it's going to change the SSID. So you're going to have to reconnect to it with your phone or laptop or computer or whatever. But at this point, it should be booted up and connected to cellular, and it's going to use that cellular connection to download a firmware update to the router. Now, if your screen looks blue when you first set it, you've probably already got that update, but I would still give it some time to go through a few cycles, give it some time to get its latest updates, and then come back and configure it. Now, while you wait for the router to update, you can go ahead and register the router with Lippert. And to do that, you've got a little QR code and a URL on here. You can do that on any computer or phone that's connected to the internet, because obviously it has to go to Lippert and register. Now the first page you'll see, depending on whether you use the QR code or not, is your claim code, and that's on the sticker. You put that in and then you click next. The next step, it's going to have you log in. Now, if you have already downloaded the OneControl app and Bluetooth it and stuff on your phone, you had to create an ID for that, and this is the same ID, same system. If not, go ahead and follow the instructions on the screen to create a new account and get logged in. After that, there's a short survey about 5 or so questions about how you're going to use the router. I'm not sure if they're using this to know what options to present you or not, but go ahead and do those and move on to the next step. And this is where you'll get a screen to pick some options. And it's kind of weird because there's this screen and then there's one right after it where you pick options. So I'm not sure what it's actually using here. We selected the $108 a year plan, which works out to $9 a month. So it's really not that bad. You got to figure, you might wonder, why do I have to pay $9 a month? Well, Lippert does have to maintain servers and infrastructure and all that for this system to work. So I get it. $9 a month isn't bad to have remote access to all your systems. Now, as you select your plan, you're going to see there are some plans for, I think, like up to 22 gigs, some are 5 gigs. And they even say right on there, these plans are not for like streaming and things like that. So you can use this thing as a hotspot if you don't already have internet, but I don't recommend it because if you look at the data plans, they're just not that great. Now, I'm not sure if you can use a different SIM in here or not. I have some questions for Lippert that I'm going to save till the end of the video, so I'm not really sure about that. But you're going to want to select the telematics plan. Telematics just means you're getting remote access just for accessing this stuff. You're not going to be using it to access the internet. So you'll go through a few more screens for billing and address and all that good stuff, credit card info. And when you get to the end of it, you're going to see this screen that basically says just to wait for a green light on your router that'll tell you it's connected. While we wait for that router to get connected to the internet and link up with the plan we just selected, I'd like to take a moment to discuss internet privacy and how you can keep the world's prying eyes off of your personal information. So much of our lives are online these days. I mean, this is online. Can people see that I'm using the OneControl app to control my system? This app probably, and pretty much every website out there, uses encryption, right? So no big deal. I mean, your banking website, Facebook, social media, pretty much everything you use these days is encrypted. So it's all private, right? Actually, no, it's not. Now, you might think, yeah, I'm protected and private, and to some extent that is true. Like when you log into your bank's website, your ID and your password, that's all encrypted. Nobody should be able to read that. But there's so much more that goes on besides just your login. When you load a web page, number one, the web page you're going to, the name of it, the IP address, how long you're on there, all that stuff is out there, public clear text that can be seen by somebody snooping the network or if you're on public Wi-Fi or something like that. So when you load a web page, it's not just coming from your bank. Your bank gives you the page, and then that page goes out and grabs advertisements and stuff that's all based on personal data. The data is encrypted, but the sites that it's hitting and how long and when and where and all that is all just out there. And it's not just when you're browsing the web. Your computer's doing a lot of stuff on the internet behind the scenes. It's doing, maybe cloud updates. Maybe you've got system updates downloading. You've got different programs checking for updates. So all of that, while the data may be encrypted, the communication protocols around that are not. I can get a lot of information about you that's not encrypted. Luckily, there is an easy solution out there, and we're super excited to have them as a sponsor, and that is SurfShark VPN. Now, I've been using SurfShark VPN for a few years and really love it. So it's really, really cool that they wanted to be a sponsor. This isn't one of those, oh, I just signed up because they became a sponsor kind of thing. You guys know that we only recommend products that we actually use. And the main reason I use SurfShark VPN is for this privacy aspect. The cool thing about SurfShark VPN is it encrypts your entire computer's internet connection. The whole thing. All of it is encrypted. All of it is private. Oh, and it's not just your computer. Obviously, you're doing stuff on your phones and your tablets and all that. With one account from SurfShark, you can put this and run it on all of your devices. So if you'd like to sign up, which I highly recommend that you do, please support our channel by using our link surfshark.com/changinglanes. And as a thank you for using our link, Surfshark is going to give you 4 months free. So be sure to go check that out. Thank you to SurfShark for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to this remote access thing. Now how long this thing takes to update, I'm really not sure. If it's taking a long time, reboot it, but eventually you'll get a green light. Now, if you don't have your own Wi-Fi system in your RV, this should be it. You should be done at this point. You've already registered it. The green light means it's connected, and you should be able to access the system via your phone away from the RV. But we do have our own internet, and it's very robust. We've got Starlink and multiple 5G multi-carrier devices. So I want to use our internet as its primary connection. And this router supports that, which is really cool. When you log back in to the router, again, you're going to have to connect to the SSID here. And once you do that, you can log in and you'll see a screen that looks like this. So this is where you can put in your Wi-Fi's information. And what that'll do is it'll let this thing use your Wi-Fi as its primary connection. And if that for some reason goes offline, it will revert back to cellular. So it's pretty cool. It gives you a little more flexibility in that connection process. Once I got that all put in, I noticed my little light here turned blue, and that's when I got the manual out. I realized there are 2 blue indicators. One of them means that, yes, I've got your router data and I'm connected to your router, but I'm not connected to telematics. And then when I think it's a lighter blue is when it is actually connected to telematics, and that's the one you want. And sure enough, I can now connect over the internet. Right now you can see I've got the Bluetooth icon here, so I'm going to go in and I am going to turn off Bluetooth, and that will force this thing to kind of reevaluate, and then boom, there I am. I got the little cloud icon. If I click it, you can see it'll tell me you're connected to your RV remotely with ConnectAnywhere. Most devices are able for monitoring and control. Some devices that are not will show as offline, and that's kind of what I wanted to cover here now. You'll notice that my AC controls are all there. No problem. I got it turned off in here for noise. I can see my tanks. I cannot control my awnings. I cannot control the leveling or slides. Obviously, those are things you don't want to control from across the world somewhere. It's just not safe to operate those things when you're not here looking at it. But you can see I can control all of my lights. For some reason, my awning light is not available. I'm going to get to that in a minute also. But I do have access to my water pump, my water tank heaters. You might be out and about and it's going to freeze and you want to turn your tank heaters on or your heat or whatever. So that is pretty cool. I can now be out at a restaurant and check the temperature, turn the ACs up, turn them down. Maybe turn it down before we come home, whatever. It's nice and it's convenient. Now, like I mentioned, I do have some questions about things like that awning light. Why can't I change my awning light? I don't know. So I do have a few questions for Lippert that I'm going to pose here. I sent these to them, but I haven't heard back. So I'm just throwing this video out there, seeing if they'll answer or if any of you guys know. So if you have the answer to any of these, put those in the comments down below. As I compile any answers to these questions, I will pin a comment down below. I'll also put it in the blog post. So on the awning light thing, I was kind of hoping, you can get into a configurator setting on your OneControl and you can really get in there and tweak them. And I'm not going to say how I did it. If you know, you know. And if you want to know, Google it. But you can get into the advanced settings in your OneControl. And I poked around into the awning settings. I was hoping I would see something in there that was like ConnectAnywhere access, on or off. It wasn't that simple. So I still don't have access to my awning light, and I'm not sure why. So that's question number one. Question number two I have is not related to remote access, but a while back we got upgraded to an on-demand water heater, and the control for that water heater is actually right here, not in the OneControl. So the gas and electric water heaters that show up separately in here, I want to get rid of those. Now I did the rescan thing and that didn't get rid of it. I'm thinking maybe I might go down into the Unity board, the big control system that's in the basement, and maybe unplug those wires if I can figure which ones are the right wires and do a rescan. Maybe that'll get rid of it. But I'd like to figure out how to get rid of devices that don't exist. I would also like to know on this ConnectAnywhere system here, can I put a third-party SIM in there? That would actually be really convenient for a lot of people. You could get a Roamlink SIM from our friends at Mobile Must Have that's truly unlimited. Pop it in there. Now granted, it's just going to be 4G, not 5G, but at least it's unlimited and you can do streaming and things like that with this system without having to install any other hardware. And that's really cool because it has a roof antenna, and an internet setup on an RV, having a roof antenna is really important, and this has already got it. So I'm curious, Lippert, can I put any SIM I want in this? Will it work? I would also like to know if Lippert plans on putting any smart thermostat features into the thermostat and the OneControl. I mean, the thing is running on a little computer here. You think we'd be able to get some things like timed turn on, turn off. Our smart thermostat in our cabin, I can tell it, come on at 7 a.m. and set these settings, and at 11 o'clock when we're going to sleep, turn the AC down. I'm curious if there are going to be any smart thermostat features like that in the future. Along that same line, I would like to know, can this system be updated, or do you have to actually swap out the entire panel? In the past, I know you had to swap the panel. I hope that they've come up with some way to update it. I mean, you've got an app with internet connection, so even if you don't have the ConnectAnywhere 2.0, I should be able to download a firmware update on my phone and push it to this system. So I don't think that's in place. I'm hoping it might be part of a system in the future. Being able to update your consumer electronics is kind of important. I mean, it's on almost everything now. Our friggin' microwave has it. So, hopefully there's some way to update this system in the future without having to go get a whole new display unit. So let me know if you guys have the answers to any of these pressing questions that I have down in the comments below. If you have any questions or comments, put those down there also. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please give this a thumbs up. That really helps us out. We'll see you next week.